All right, everyone, welcome back into another NFL DFS video. Going to be touching on the top showdown plays for this Thursday night showdown between the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. Let's go ahead and get into it. Now, guys, just a quick recap from the Monday slate. Was able to take down a GPP myself, which was awesome. But what was more awesome is that I got some messages on the 9to5 Discord chat saying that other members were able to have good days as well. I would say for that Monday night game, I was pretty much perfect with the takes. I, for lack of a better word, it was very good Monday in terms of the process and the plays that I gave you guys for Monday night. I'm sure a lot of you guys had success there as well, as most of you guys probably did on the Thursday and Friday slates as well, where we were able to profit on that. The only bad day was Sunday, obviously, with Puka Nacua getting injured. It's kind of one of those slates where you can kind of just write off with a random big star injury that really drastically changes the whole slate. But a very solid week one in general. Hopefully we can continue that into this week. Let's go ahead and get into those top plays for Thursday. And we do that by starting out with the game preview here. And looking at the game total, 2.5 point spread in favor of the Miami Dolphins winning. Looking at the game total, it is going to be the second highest projected game total on the slate at 48.6 on average. Obviously, the biggest news for this slate is going to be the Miami Dolphins and the injuries for them. I want to call out those injuries. So Devon Achane, limited in practice. I think the expectation is going to be that he's going to play. We'll touch on what to do with him as a DFS asset. We know that Mostert has already been confirmed out. So I think that essentially locks in Jeff Wilson Jr. into a role for this week, at least for Thursday. The unfortunate side about Achane potentially sitting is that Malik Washington is also out. I think Malik Washington would actually be a sneaky good GPP play because he would get used in the way that they're using Devon Achane currently. And so the biggest question mark is, will Achane be active? And if he's active, will he be limited at all? And so let's just talk about that a little bit more. So again, Achane currently limited. I think everyone, and myself included, is assuming that if Achane sits, that means we're going to get a lot of Jalen Wright as well. So I think Jalen Wright is the natural replacement to Devon Achane. If you guys followed me on Twitter, X, one, I have a tweet going viral right now, which is pretty awesome. But two, I called out just how well Jalen Wright looked in the preseason. He actually looked better than Devon Achane, like at that point in the preseason last year. Looked good. And so the issue with Achane is that he was on the field with Mostert a decent amount. And so they might just elect to have a receiver take over for that role. Like, for example, wouldn't it be surprising to see someone like Eric Ezekama potentially get some more snaps in this game? He would need to be elevated from the practice squad, but it wouldn't be surprising to see him have design plays where he's like going in motion and whatnot. I could see that happening, but I really just think if Achane is limited or out, I think that's just going to help Jalen Waddle out even more. I think that's just going to increase his targets and increase his production floor in this game. So that's probably the route I'm going to go, but obviously we're going to mix in Jalen Wright if Devon Achane is inactive. But the biggest takeaway is that I think with Mostert out, we are going to see Jeff Wilson kind of be that in between the tackles runner for them in this game. He might not be the lead back. That will probably still be Achane. But I do think Jeff Wilson Jr. will have a role. And if you guys look at last year, Wilson did not look good really throughout the whole season. Came in a little bit banged up, and I don't think that ever left him. Last week, he looked much better than what he looked like all last year. And so if that's a sign for things to come, Jeff Wilson Jr. could actually be in for a sizable workload in this game. So my bet with this slate specifically is to bet on Jeff Wilson Jr. having a sizable role, and then that will create a strong lineup process for us from that point on. Now, if you're doing GPPs, obviously mixing Jalen Wright in there, I think those two, we can swap in and out. It'll work regardless. And so from there, what can we do? Obviously, we're going to want to fit Tyreek Hill into our builds. I think that's pretty much safe. And honestly, I think Jalen Waddle is probably the best play that we have on this slate in terms of probably not going to be as high owned as he should. And I think he's going to be a play, again, with Achane potentially being limited or out. I think that just helps him a little bit more. And so if you're not playing Achane in a build, I would suggest going with Jalen Wright. I think that's the way to go. The biggest issue that I have with this slate is if Achane is active and he's reportedly not going to be limited at all, that does make the slate more difficult, because from here I could just go Tua and we're feeling pretty good about our lineup process. So fading Achane, I don't exactly like that, especially because he got a lot of work in the passing game, which wasn't too shocking. And if you guys, going back to the GPP winning lineup I had, all my good lineups had Jake Moody in them. that is a tendency in terms of showdown builds that they will have a random producer like a kicker or DST. And so if I'm doing GPP lineups, that will be a rule that I create in the 9 to 5 lineup builder to say, all right, I want at least one of each team's kicker. And I don't know if I'll do defense just because it's that high scoring of a game, but a pick 6 could happen and then a defense hits value. So from there, let's go ahead and get into the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are, I would say, a little bit easier to predict in terms of who we should be going out of our way to target. And I will say, I'm completely shocked at the pricing for Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman, I would assume, is going to be extreme chalk. I haven't taken a peek at ownership at all. That'll be updated in the afternoon for the slate as well, just as an FYI if you guys are a 9 to 5 member using the lineup builder. And if you're not, guys, perfect time for the promo code. Make sure you use the promo code Keep Cash. And if you guys want to sign up to get access to that 9 to 5 lineup builder, by using this promo code, you'll get 20% off the $10 membership. So make your first membership at 9 to 5 Sports $8 for the first month. But yeah, looking at Keon Coleman, guys, I don't get the pricing. He played the most snaps out of any Bills receiver. He got end zone targets, and he looked good. He did. My one concern, if you guys followed me for props content as well, you already saw this take, or heard this take, I should say. My one concern about Keon Coleman is that he is a rookie, and it is a short week. Maybe that just leads to him being not as prepared as you would want him to be. But given the pricing that we have, it's insane that he is that cheap. I would be happy to put him in the captain spot as well. So from this point, we can see lineup-wise, we can get to Josh Allen, and we have a great build here. Like, this is a phenomenal high floor, high upside build as well. We got correlations in there. I mean, this is awesome. That's how easy of a slate this is to make a good build on paper. That being said, obviously, it's not good to be fading James Cook, who got over 20 opportunities in that game. Now, you didn't get as many snaps as you would want. Maybe Ray Davis gets a little bit more work, who looked really good last week. But that being said, James Cook is at a good price tag. I really don't mind that. And for what it's worth, going back to the Dolphins, James Conner really kind of tore up the Buffalo Bills rushing the football. And so, yeah, HN could really go off there as well. Continuing on, I will say Dalton Kincaid, definitely just too high priced. Sure, can he have he could have a good game, sure. But given the price discrepancy between him and someone like Dawson Knox, I find that crazy. Dawson Knox played in 58% of the snaps. He is used more as the traditional tight end, which I would say, I don't think it increases his like touchdown likelihood, but they could do some sort of design play to him for a touchdown. And that's just a cheap price tag for a guy that shouldn't be that cheap. Obviously, I like Kincaid better as a fantasy scorer in this game, but the price difference is kind of crazy to me. Now, the reason why Dalton Kincaid is that high priced is because he plays more as a slot receiver. And so I would say if you are playing Khalil Shakir in a lineup, don't play Dalton Kincaid and vice versa. And so Khalil Shakir, I don't mind as price tag, but again, given that pricing, we should just go Keon Coleman. I wouldn't be surprised to see Curtis Samuel get a little bit more work in this game as well, but we don't need to go crazy with that. In terms of the value that's out there for the Bills, it is kind of crazy. Matt Collins played a lot of snaps. MVS played a lot of snaps. MVS is someone that can break a slate on one big play. Obviously, still a speed guy in the NFL. Matt Collins played a lot. And so, again, if you're looking for some cheap value, those two plays could be it as well. So there is a lot of spots where we can go to really find some salary relief to really allow you to make whichever build you want possible. And I will say, I wish I could get to this lineup. This lineup is slightly better, I would say. Low-key, I kind of hate that I can't make that work. Like, this would be great because, again, if HN is active, I do think we probably want to get to him. But if HN's active, that means like this pivot that I could potentially make to, let's say, Jalen Wright. Like, I don't think that's optimal. I don't think that correlates at all. So it's a fun week to do kind of the lineup process. Let's go ahead and show you guys what the 9 to 5 lineup builder is spitting out to us. And so again, just to make the lineup builder work, I'm just going to round up to just a couple of these plays here. So just rounding up here because you need to give it 2 data points to go off of. So just to see kind of what it's spitting out to us as what is going to be the optimal lineup. This will change. Okay, again, if HN's out or if we can use that he's limited, this could easily change. But let's see what the optimal lineup is per the lineup builder. And so here we go. I mean, this is a phenomenal build here, guys. Josh Allen in the captain spot, so it is liking Jalen Wright a little bit more maybe than Jeff Wilson. I think given the salary, we should be able to make Jeff Wilson work. And it is kind of sticking with that theme. I mean, this one looks really good, though. This first one, I don't mind that. I might have to get some exposure to that. But I do like the lineups that's just naturally spitting out to us. This honestly seems like a lot like the Monday night slate where, let's say we do get that HN news where he's out. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to play. But That would create a lot of value, a lot of good lineups that we can be on. I'll show you guys the player exposure here. 85% Jalen Wright. Probably want to get that closer to 50-50. Again, I kind of like Jeff Wilson a little bit more, but that's interesting that the data does not. And so, guys, that's going to be all for today's video. Make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel. That does help out the channel a lot. I did mention we had a viral tweet on Twitter, on X. If you guys want to check that out, if you guys have never followed me on there, make sure to do so. It's a good time. Good time to follow, I guess. But that's going to be all for today's video, guys. Make sure to give a like and subscribe. If you guys want access to these tools, head on over to 9to5sports.com. Get them for $10 a month. But when you use the promo code KEEPCASHING, get it the first month for just $8. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.